Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 369th film from 2021. It's the Hindi language anthology film called Ajeeb Daastaans. It's directed by Shashank Khaitan, Raj Mehta, Neeraj, Ghaywan and Kayoze, Irani. And it stars an ensemble cast. I'm Jesse, I'm your host. Thank you for joining me today for this episode. As always, if this is a film you haven't seen and you're interested in checking out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on because we will spoil this film as we go through. We do start our show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film's all about. For me, this is the first time I really struggled with this one. So for the first time ever, I'm going to go with what Netflix said about this film. So they said this is 4 shorts that explore the surprising ways in which unexpected catalysts inflame the uncomfortable emotions simmering under fractured relationships. Whew, what a bunch of big words. This is like four vignettes, 4 short stories that all have a common theme about love, I guess, and females in Indian society. And the 4 of them are all varying degrees of have varying degrees of difference in their actual ability to tell a narrative, is how I'd put it. So let's look at this, how it's ended up on Netflix. What's the title? The Hindi title of Ajeeb Daastaans. It directly translates to strange tales, and I would say yes, this film is full of some strange tales. In Spanish, it's called The Third in Discord, and I don't get that. This Portuguese, it's called Unusual Stories. I get that. But then the French, they've gone with Rules of 3 as well. Again, something to do with, I'm not sure. Don't get why 3 or thirds mentioned. In Greek and Russian, it's called Unusual Stories. In Japanese, it's called An Extraordinary Story. In Chinese, it's called Love Secrets. Yeah, so not too bad. That works. And in Turkish, it's called Weird Relationships. That probably sums it up the best. So this film, it did hit Netflix worldwide on the 16th of April, 2021. It was filmed in India, and it did get nominated for quite a few awards. It altogether had 11 wins and 11 nominations across a variety of award ceremonies. Some highlights: it was nominated at the 2021 Filmfare OTT Awards. So it had Best Web Original Film and Best Actor in an Original Web Film for Manav Kaul, and it did win as well Best Actress in a Web Original Film for Konkana Sen Sharma. It also won at the Asian Academy Creative Awards for Best Actress in a Leading Role for Konkana Sen Sharma, and that's that Bharti character in the factory short that we will talk about very soon. It was also nominated at the Busan International Film Festival for Best Actress for Nusrat Bakruka. So some nominations there. Obviously, it's been fairly well received, but what are the critics actually saying about the film, and some audience reception as well? So on Rotten Tomatoes, this actually sits at 100%, perfect score on 13 reviews. That is fresh, so solid. Audience, a fair bit lower, 63%. That's on less than 50 ratings though. IMDb, again, fairly solid, a 5.6 out of 10 on 2,800 ratings. Letterboxd has a very solid score of a 3.3 out of 5 on 3,500 ratings, but it's been logged by nearly 6,000 people there. And on Metacritic, on that traffic light system of green, yellow, or red, it's green, both categories. Oh, sorry, no, it's not. It doesn't even have a Metacritic score, so I can't actually say that. I was going to say it was positive, but that's all good. What are my early thoughts on this one? I think this one, it was a bit of a struggle. Like the first 2 vignettes or the first 2 stories, they were so far-fetched that it was lucky that it finished off with 2 decent stories, I think. Like, they were all shot well, they all looked good. They just weren't very engaging narratives in short form. That would be my criticism, I guess, of this collection of short stories. So, we've done some anthology sort of films before. I'm going to sort of break the mold a little bit of how we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk a little bit about each of the segments. And I guess I've got to start off by saying that the opening animated credits that sort of showed segments of each of these 4 shorts was very cool. And I guess a little bit of a commonality from other Indian anthology films that we've covered on this show as well. So our first little short story that we see, it's called Majnu, which translates to lover in English, and this one's the one that is directed by Shashank Khaitan. So the characters in this one, we've got this Bablu guy. He's this rich businessman who is gay, and he's just married for his family's reputation. So his wife is called Lepakashi, and she pretty much flirts with every person she comes into contact with, almost to spite her husband for not loving her. But she is lonely. And the third person that we get in this film is this guy called Raj, and he comes along looking for work with Bablu, because his dad's been loyal and working for him for many years as well. This is another opportunity for Lipkashi to flirt with him as well. But the other side of things is that Bablu falls in love with him as well. And in the end, this Raj guy pretty much uses them both, to be honest. Some scenes, there's nothing in this one that really stood out. Some things I didn't like in this one. I think there's the guy who tries at the start just to sort of show that Lipkashi is into all sorts of guys just to make her husband jealous. The first guy we see, he gets caught by Bablu. So Bablu takes him hostage almost and lowers him into hot oil so that he can fry his sausage, and this will remind him of casting eyes on his wife. Come on, like seriously. The Lipkashi, she makes this move on Raj, and there's some weird dialogue before she like slaps him across the face, but then starts kissing him. And then we have this montage after, and then she asks if he loves her, and this just all felt too quick in this short form. It was weird. We then have the follow-up of Bablu telling Raj that he loves him too. So not only does his wife love him, he loves him too, and he complains about being alone as well and starts cuddling and crying to Raj. It just all felt a little bit humorous or comical, to be honest. And then the final reveal, it tries to have a twist, and the reveal is that Raj has been using them both and stealing their money and leaves them all behind. And not only is he leaving them behind, but he has... well, Lipkashi is pregnant with his child, and she's stuck with his husband that doesn't love her and a child that isn't his. Weird. Some themes or these ideas, I guess, that they're trying to say in this one. And there's the idea of forced marriages and society in India too not accepting of same-sex couples. There's that idea of family reputations and men in Indian society being almost hypocrites at times. The importance of education to free yourself from the slums and move on, it's played on here as well as that danger of chasing money or almost through revenge at times too. So that's the first one. The second one, this one is called Khilauna, or in English it's translated to Toy, and this is directed by Raj Mehta. This one is about two girls, two sisters, both orphaned. Meenal is the older sister. She supports her younger sister Binny they do menial jobs almost, lots of housework. She works at this lady's place called Abha, but decides, hey, I'm not getting what I need from this work arrangement, so maneuvers herself to work at this almost like politician or this diplomat sort of guy, Argwell's house. It's almost like she's chasing the next feed or the next step up in their life as well. So this Agarwal guy, he's rich obviously, and he's the one that controls the area. He's got a big gated house, and he's the people in the slums behind use his electricity, and he's turned it off. So this is what Meenal wants. She wants the electricity so badly back in her house, and a part of this is he tries to make a move on her to get this power back, and she rejects that move, and this leads to Agarwal going after Meenal's lover, whose name is Sushil. So a little bit of backwards and forwards. I haven't really touched on the twist at the end of this one, but some scenes in this one, and this is the twist. This is the end. The end is that Agarwal his wife has a child, and that's the main reason why Meenal is there to work. And there's this big party at the end where his child goes missing, and there's this shot of a boiling pot of water that has blood oozing out of it like the baby's been boiled. Like, what on earth was that? I was so shocked when I saw that, and just some things that didn't work, I guess. That idea that the sisters, like Binny, she needs the TV to fall asleep. That's why they're so desperate to get power. That just doesn't feel right. And Binny and Meenal, as sisters, they call each other bitches and they howl at each other. That felt weird as well. So a little bit of a weird one, especially through the themes. I guess like the societal structure plays a big part, the haves and the have-nots and the gated communities and those struggling. But the title, this plays on that idea of toy, and maybe a little bit of a misinterpretation by Binny, the child, about what a toy is, and the idea of humans' existence almost being as trivial as like a plaything too. So interesting twist at the end of that one. All right, the third one. This is probably the second best one. The best one's the last one. We'll get to that in a minute. But the third one is called Geeli Pucchi, and in English that translates to sloppy kisses. This one's directed by Neeraj, Ghaywan. The characters in this one, they're two characters. This is a story about two females, really. So we've got Bharti, and she's a woman. She's the only woman that works in this factory with lots of men, and she is from the caste of Dalit. So she's a bit of an outsider already, and she is queer as well. So that makes her marginalized even more. Even though she's studied, she's educated, she knows what she's doing, and she deserves and could do a good job in this factory. And what upsets her the most, I guess, is that this Priya character comes along and gets the job that she wants, and mainly because of her family name. She doesn't have any qualification. She's got nothing that Bharti doesn't have, just mainly, I guess, class, or the upper class side of things as well. This Priya character, though, she does seem to be very caring and builds a bit of a friendship with Bharti, maybe a little bit of a romantic connection too, but this is the twist of this one, I guess, is that Bharti uses this to her advantage. And the sad thing is Priya, she's married, she has a husband, she doesn't know if she loves him, and he wants a child, and she's contemplating, like, what do I do? And Bharti almost manipulates her to have a child, so that way Bharti can step in and actually take the job that she deserves is hers. So in this, I really liked in the scenes the conclusion of this one, where Bharti gets the job by forcing Priya to stay home to look after this child, and there's this really good shot of her giving her almost like a wry smile, just like, I've got you, I've got your job. That was good. The only thing I didn't like in this one was to get her pregnant, Bharti allows Priya and her husband to use her apartment to have sex, and then after they've left, Bharti goes back to the apartment and smells the dirty sheet. That was just a bit gross, a bit yuck. The themes in this one, obviously the caste society and the haves and have-nots based on your surname, the oppression of women at times in the workforce as well, in such a male-dominated society. But they do play on this idea, and this is probably the one that most people say is the best short out of all these four, is that idea of owning your truth and being happy, and what it means to be a mother too. So a lot of people did like this one. This one's probably the longest one out of the four as well. But for me, the fourth and final one is the best one. This one's called Ankahi, and in English it means unspoken. And this one's directed by Kayoze Irani. This is his directorial debut. This one is literally about a woman called Natasha, who's a housewife. She's struggling with her daughter's loss in hearing, and her husband, Rohan, has an inability to deal with what's happening to their daughter, to face it head on and actually deal with it. And she's frustrated, she's angry. She meets this guy called Kabir, who is a photographer, and she runs into him and works out he's deaf, and they connect based on this and her ability to do sign language, because she's teaching herself that so she can communicate with her daughter when she loses her hearing. And this is you know, this builds into a nice little, very straight, like, it was done in a non-linear way, and it was really good. So I liked the moments where Kabir talks about, because he's a photographer, and he talks about that his photographs say more about what his photographs are what people see in the photo, say less about him and more about them. I really like that, especially when Natasha had mentioned that she sees sadness in his work, and this highlights how sad she is in her current stage as well. And the final shot of this one too is heartbreaking. Kabir, he sleeps with Natasha, and he chases after her when he stuffs up on the goodbye and sees that she goes home to a kid and a husband, and she closes the door on him saying, oh, it's just a salesman. And that rejection and using sign language, he says, you managed to lie with your eyes, which was, you know, such an impactful end. I really like this too. And the themes in this one, that idea of dealing with hearing loss and that acceptance of having a disability, and the acceptance of family and society and the lies that people can tell to make you feel better, and to that idea of love, how hard it might be to feel love because of being different. So that was a really nice one to finish off on as well. So it was really hard to try and put together some common themes or ideas that ran through the four things, but obviously that idea of unexplored relationships runs throughout it, that idea of what is love. Marginalized women play a big role. All of these stories are female-centric, so that was good. That was nice to see. And I guess they also play a little bit on jealousy and entitlement and prejudices and toxicity. So some good little ideas, I guess, as well. What else did I take away from this one? I think that all the shorts, they all looked really well. They're all well shot. They're all well put together. It's just the actual narratives that almost struggled from the short runtimes, especially when it's really four short films. They used each of the four used montages and music at times, and these are short little narratives. You don't need that. Like, you use your time wisely. I just thought that was an interesting little pickup. Some thoughts, some pondering, some ideas. I think that this is in relation to some of the Indian films that we've covered on this show, but they all challenge that caste system, the toxic masculinity, and the poor treatment of women at times in Indian society. I just like, it's obviously an important issue, but why has nothing happened? Why has nothing changed? Why, after doing this show for 5-6 years now, why are we still seeing the same messages? It's an interesting thought. I really hope that maybe we're going to see more positive, empowering films with women characters or female characters moving forward from India too. I'm ready to wrap this one up. We do give the films a rating out of 5 on this show. So for me, we've done other anthology Indian films on this show. One called Lust Stories, one called Ghost Stories. It actually had another film called Bombay Stories, which wasn't a Netflix original, but it ties in with those as well. They're all much better. The connections between the stories, they're more understandable and more relatable, whereas these ones, it's iffy. The shorts in this, they kick off poorly, but they do end well. So the last two are okay. It's just not highly recommendable. I wouldn't waste my time on this. I'm giving this a 2.5 out of 5. An okay score from me. We are on socials. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and we have X, formerly known as Twitter. I just wanted to pop out there the question for this one, especially in relation to my favourite one of these stories, which is the last one about a girl going deaf in sign language. Do you know sign language? Do you know any of the motions? That's one of those things, like the signals with the hands. I would love to know how to sign properly. If you do, how hard is it to learn? Does it take a lot of time? I really would be interested. Let us know. We are back next week with another international film from 2021, but this one's from Brazil. It's the Brazilian comedy crime film from 2021 called Get the Grift, or in Portuguese, Os Salafraus. It's directed by Pedro Antonio Paes and stars Zeca Carvalho, Thelmo Fernandez, and Cato Mania. So that's what we've got next week. No idea what it's going to be about. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I hope you are too. Give it a watch before then. And as always, thank you for having listened with me today.